I'm one of the greatest doing it, greatest doing it. It's the real admit.
Handoff, Elliott trying to come outside right. He ran over a guy. Put that left arm out and said, no, not today.
One of the greatest doing it. It's the real admit.
The Cowboys are off to Hawaii to face the Rams in tomorrow's preseason game. One notable absence for the boys will be Ezekiel Elliott, who is still training in Cabo as he continues to hold out, looking for a new deal. Now, with just 2 weeks left until the start of the regular season, guys, are the Cowboys running out of time to get a deal done with Ezekiel?
They're not running out of time, Dominique. I think they got plenty of time. First of all, I don't think Ezekiel Elliott has any leverage in this deal. I mean, when I say any, he's got a little bit. He's got the obvious argument that I'm so talented, I'm the best running back in the NFL, and you need me. But on the other hand, he's under contract for 2 more years. Beyond that, Dominique, the Cowboys have the ability to franchise him for another 2 beyond that. In order for him to even accrue years to get closer to free agency, he's going to have to play 6 games a year, right? So what is Zeke essentially saying? Is he really going to say that I'm going to be a 27, 28-year-old free agent running back who's played 18 games over the previous 3 years, who's 1 strike away from a big suspension in the NFL? Pay me?
Yeah,
I mean, really, that's not much leverage. The only leverage is you guys really need me to win now.
Yeah, that's a lot of leverage. Well, I think you're looking at it from this perspective as if that means that that's all they care about. I think when you build a roster, you build it in order to have a championship window. Their championship window is now, and they are at the peak of that window. They will not have a better roster a year from now, 2 years from now, or 3 years from now through all these years left on Ezekiel's contract. If they franchise him after that, their roster is only going to get progressively worse. Right now is when they have all the best players that they're going to have. So that is Zeke's leverage. Zeke's leverage is holding this over the Cowboys' heads and saying that the best player on your offense may not show up, and your chances of winning a Super Bowl go down exponentially without him there. And I not only think that it goes down for if they don't have him in the playoffs, they may miss the playoffs if they don't get him in on this roster soon, because if they miss their first 3 games, the first 2 games are divisional opponents. And while the Giants we don't suspect the Giants are going to be very good, they do play Washington next, who is going to have one of the best defenses in the league, certainly one of the most talented defenses in the league. So they need to have him back in order to win those games. You can't lose divisional games and get in the playoffs if you think that you're going to compete in the NFC, which is so deep. They may not win that division because the Eagles are probably more talented to them, and then wild card is a crapshoot, especially considering the fact that the Cowboys have the most difficult schedule in that whole division.
If they're running
tough.
out of time, what are you saying? What is the clock? What's the deadline? Are you saying before those games all start, week 1?
Yeah, they need Ezekiel Elliott on their roster before week 1. He needs to play in the first game of the year. You lose those first 2 games, your playoff hopes are dashed.
Look, on the other side of this equation is, while it's true, the Cowboys need Zeke to reach their full potential. The Cowboys need Zeke to really be who they are, to their fullest identity, as you point out, is the way this offense is designed. There's no week 1 pressure. Zeke's the one, by the way, giving up millions of dollars. Don't act like he's got no skin in this game. If he sits for the amount of time we're talking about losing a lot of money with no end in sight. That's my whole point, Dominique, with really no finish line that he can envision to where he would get that deal. It's not Le'Veon Bell, right? Le'Veon Bell had 1 year to sit out, and so he could at least see the goal line. Right. Zeke's is years and years out of giving up millions of dollars.
Right, but they're on different timelines. Your timeline is talking about that Zeke has to come on and play at some point towards the end of this year, or at some point Zeke needs to come on in order to get credit for this season. I'm saying that they need to win these first few games.
Okay,
these first 3. So I'm saying that the pressure is on the Cowboys. The Cowboys start to lose on this deal before Zeke Elliott starts to get hurt in a significant way.
I don't think so. See, I don't think so. So let me take you up on exactly what you're offering. We can even put that graphic back up if we want, but I think those first 3 games of the season line up very nicely for the Dallas Cowboys to play without Zeke. We're talking about the New York Giants here, right? Who's playing receiver for the New York Giants that first week? Do we know the name of anybody?
We can skip that. We can count that as a win, okay?
Yeah,
win.
I think that's right. Between suspensions and injury, I really have no idea who's playing receiver for the Giants. I assume it's Eli playing quarterback. Now, and I'm not trying to be a comedian or joke here, seriously with the Redskins and the quarterback situation, right? Colt McCoy can't get over his leg injury. Case Keenum hasn't fit in just yet. Dwayne Haskins doesn't look quite ready. The Miami Dolphins? I mean, I think the Cowboys can go 3-0 on that schedule without Ezekiel Elliott, with Tony Pollard. And let me say something about this for a moment, because, obviously, over the last several weeks, we've had debates about Dak Prescott and his contract, right? And one of the things I constantly hear is, but who is Dak without Zeke, right? And if Zeke's out, it would really, by most people's perception, hurt Dak and then hurt them in the first 3 games. Well, when Zeke was out for that 6-game suspension, Dominique, they went 3-3.
Right.
Alfred Morris went pretty well. The truth is, while Dak did tail off in that 6-game stretch, I don't think it was as much about Ezekiel Elliott as it was about Tyron Smith being hurt at that time. I'll have nightmares, as will Dak Prescott, of Adrian Claiborne spinning Chaz Green around six times in the Atlanta Falcons game.
Fine.
That's not going to be the case in the first 3 games of this season.
That's all fine, but they're only 16 regular season games. If you lose them, if you want to take a risk because you want to play hardball with Zeke Elliott over a few million a year from here on out, then that's on you. That's not smart, in my opinion, when, again, you have your best possible chance to win a Super Bowl right now. I don't think anyone would disagree with that.
I'm not arguing that they don't need Zeke. I'm not arguing that they wouldn't be better off without Zeke. And I'm not arguing those 3 games aren't important. Right. What I'm arguing is who has the power, who's under the gun here, and who has the clock that they're running against. And I think it's much more on Zeke. You see, and it comes down to this, Dominique. What does Zeke want, right? I mean, if we're playing this pressure game, does Zeke want reset the market money? Does he want $17, $18 million a year? Well, the Cowboys were going to go into those 3 games and see if they win with Tony Pollard.
Here it is. I'm going to simplify it for you. So if Zeke does not show up for the first 4 games of the season, it doesn't hurt him. He can show up at some point and get credit for this season, and it does not slow down his count to free agency. If Zeke doesn't show up for the first 4 games of the season, and let's say the Cowboys lose 2, 3, maybe all of those games, their Super Bowl hopes are over. So that's why I'm saying the timeline and the pressure is a little different. And it falls more on the Cowboys than it does on Zeke.
But you're only considering one side of that equation. What if the Cowboys come out of the gate and start out 3-0, 4-0? Right. Doesn't that diminish Zeke's leverage?
Oh, absolutely. I think it does, but I think it's more likely that they'll struggle offensively with Zeke than excel without Zeke.
Not in those first 3 games. I like that schedule.
Hold on. So we just came off the last block where you said taking DeMarcus Cousins off of a roster diminishes a team's chances of winning, but somehow taking Ezekiel Elliott off of the Cowboys roster?
I did not. I did not say it wouldn't diminish. I said I think they're going to be just fine over those first 3 games. Give me the Dolphins. Can I play them 3 times? Give me the Giants. Can I play them 3 times? I'm not worried about the Redskins. Let's go.
Well, always fun to talk Cowboys when you're on the show, but we got to move on because coming up next, Andrew Luck, he is injured again and his status for week 1 is uncertain. We'll discuss if the AFC South is now up for grabs. Keep it locked right here on First Take.